I'm a total nerd when it comes to video games. I grew up in the 90s and usually went to play the Super Nintendo at my friend's house. We would play games like Super Mario World, Mega Man 7, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, Super Mario Kart, Super Castlevania 4, Super Metroid, F-Zero, just to name a few. Of course, I played the NES as well. My favourite game being Super Mario Bros. 3, no question. Safe to say I have a lot of fond memories with video games growing up. We've got the internet nowadays, but I like to think back to that time. It was a time of innocence, of discovering new games by going into the store and seeing something brand new that you had no idea about. Sure, there were commercials and things like that advertising them, but to me it was like discovering a new secret treasure. As the years went by, the internet would become more advanced. We're now able to download our games with the click of a button. As convenient as that may be, I always enjoyed just putting in a cartridge and turning on the power button. However, that is not what this story is about. Recently, my friend passed away. For privacy reasons, I'll refer to him as Blake. Blake was a victim of suicide. In his will, all his belongings, toys, and video games went to me. He knew how much of a gaming nerd I was. As neat as it was to have all this cool stuff, I couldn't help but feel a bit sad. I mean, getting passed down your friend's video games, it can leave a mental scar looking through it all. You can't help but mourn over them. Blake was one of my best friends. Though I didn't see him much when he started working, I didn't know much about his job, what he did, or anything like that. Now, I wish I hadn't. It all started when I was looking through his old consoles. There was the GameCube, Sega Genesis, Nintendo Entertainment System, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, hell, even a PlayStation and a PSP, which was nice. There was also an assortment of CDs. Among them, I found a blank label with the words DDLC. Interesting, I thought to myself. I assumed it was a copy of Doki Doki Literature Club burned onto a CD. Obviously, it's a free game you can download. It's a popular indie dating simulator horror game. I was a fan, but seeing it like this was a surprise. Mainly because I never thought he was into horror games, let alone burnt them onto CDs. It intrigued me. I have not played DDLC in a long time, so revisiting like this, it would be quite an adventure. Without any hesitation, I put the disc into my personal gaming PC and I began to install the game. It finished installing and I started playing. I saw all 4 of the girls on the title screen: Sayori, Natsuki, Yuri, and of course Monika. Hearing the game's title theme sent butterflies into my stomach. I don't know about you, but I love the characters. They're just the right amount of cuteness, yet mysterious figures that you'd ever want to get to know better in your life. I clicked on New Game, and surprisingly, it asked for my name. I assumed that Blake had wiped the game, and therefore made the game think it's a new player. I put my name in, and I began playing. It was just like I remembered it. Sayori coming up and dragging the player into the literature club. There, the player meets Yuri, Natsuki, and Monika. Everything from day one was the same. Eating Natsuki's cupcakes and Monika giving the idea of writing poems for the next day. However, that's where things started going off from the usual game. Monika takes me aside, out in the hallway, and tells me that I should quit the literature club with a stern expression. She told me to quit and to not look back. My character actually responded. He acted confused and wondering what she's on about. I'm not going to lie, I was equally confused. I asked myself the same question. She left me alone shortly after, and the poem game began. Okay, that was strange, I thought to myself. Had that scene been there all the time? It has been a while, I thought, since I last played it. Maybe it was like the fun value in Undertale, where certain events would play depending on the fun value. Must have missed an update, I guess. The game continued like normal. The poem game was the same as always, picking words for 3 of the selectable girls to please. Though, when I selected any words during the poem game, the chibi models didn't jump up. I assumed it was a glitch. The damn disc was covered in dust by the time I found it. I assumed it had glitches, but despite that, they kept moving, left and right, even as I selected a word. When I was finished, the game played as normal. Talks of the festival and sharing each other's poems and all that usually happens during day 2. Until the screen faded out. When it would normally show which route I've selected, Sayori's route was apparently what I got. Not that I was complaining. Sayori is my favorite girl in the game. Unfortunately, rather than the conversation with her and Monika, the music just stops, and she shows up on the screen, looking rather grim. Almost with a sad expression. She didn't say anything at first. She just stared at me. Given the previous occurrence from earlier, I actually felt like she was looking directly at me. At first, I didn't think much of it, though I had this creeping feeling as if I was being watched, almost like from the game itself. It does sound strange, I know, but really, I don't know what else to describe it as. Finally, she spoke.
Why do you enjoy seeing us suffer?
The game glitched after that, and it proceeded as normal. I played most of the game after that. The poem game was the same as it was the last time, but I was picked onto Yuri's route this time. However, my character didn't want to approach her. He literally said, "I don't want to approach her." I was confused. Then, Yuri went up to my character. I was given a choice. Yes or no. Though there was no question. My cursor hovered over the yes option. I figured no harm would come. I clicked it, and then it cut to the Yuri reading scene. Nothing was happening. I waited and waited for about 10 minutes, but still, nothing. I was frustrated by this point. I saved my file and I closed the game, needing a break from this oddity. At this point, I assumed it must have been a modded game file burned onto the CD disc rather than the original game. I took a shower and afterwards I decided to play some of Blake's old games before I went to bed. I eyed the Nintendo 64 and I decided to hook it up to the TV. Glancing at the games he had for the console, there surprisingly wasn't very much. Castlevania 64, Pokemon Snap, and the Mario and Zelda games. There were also 3 of the Mario Party games. I decided that I would start a playthrough of Super Mario 64. So, that's it, you're asking? That's all there is to it? No, that's not it. That's not all there is to it. I was at the Bomb battlefield when I noticed an oddity in the cage next to the chain chomp. There was a pink-haired girl. Thinking about it now, honestly, the model looked like something from the modern 3D age, rather than something that could be processed on the N64. I made the chain chomp break the cage, and I went up to it. To my surprise, it was Natsuki. She was curled up into a ball and sobbing. I could hear her sobs through the speakers on my TV. I could not interact with her, no matter what buttons I pressed. I punched, kicked, crouched. Everything I did just seemed to go through her. I thought I was imagining things, so I just grabbed the star and moved on. However, when I made it back to Peach's castle, the music didn't play. It was dead quiet. I tried to enter the painting again, but I was unable to. At this point, I began to feel a bit creeped out. I was no longer able to return to Bomb Battlefield. Leaving the room, I noticed that Toad wasn't around. Usually in Super Mario 64, there are certain Toads that you can interact with, but there was not one in sight. I tried to leave the castle to go outside, just to hear the birds chirping. A text appeared saying,
No, you will stay here.
"What the hell? What's going on?" Feeling like I had no other option, I turned it off. Maybe the cartridge was faulty, and it was the same trick as before. "Ha. Okay, Blake, very funny," I said to myself, assuming he tampered with his cartridges as a sick joke. I popped in Majora's Mask next, as it's one of my favourite Zelda games of all time. I played until around 2 in the morning, and I made it to the Waterfall Temple. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I could swear I saw a figure looking at me. I ran in the opposite direction, and I went into an underground area in Termina Field. I opened the chest to get a heart piece, but I looked back and I saw Yuri standing in the center. Next to her was Natsuki's dead body, blood pooling around her. the music once again stopped. She was holding a knife and pointed it in my direction. I instinctively readied my sword, thinking I had to fight her. But then, without my control, Link stabbed himself in the chest multiple times until his health completely depleted. Blood was coming out of his guts. It reminded me of Act 2, how Yuri would stab herself in the main game of DDLC. The game over screen did not appear after his hearts were gone. Yuri went over to his body, and a text appeared.
Stop ignoring us, you fucking ignorant bastard.
And she started beating Link's lifeless body. What the fuck? I shut off the console, and I unplugged it. I tucked it back into the closet, and I decided not to play any of Blake's games anymore. It was getting late, and I decided to go to bed. I had a horrifying dream. In it, my best friend confessed to me, and I was feeling depressed, regardless of what he said. I hung myself in the dream, feeling hopeless. It just dawned on me, when I jolted awake, that I was viewing Sayuri's perspective of that event from the game. It was early in the morning. I turned on the light to get out of bed to get a drink. When I flipped on the switch, I screamed at the sight of what was in front of me. I saw Sayuri hanging on my fucking ceiling. I also saw Yuri's dead body next to my desk, posed just like how it was in the game. Natsuki's neck was snapped and lying on the ground. Monika? Oh dear God, Monika. She was crucified on my wall. I'm talking about Passion of the Christ shit, with a cross and everything. I was mortified of what I was witnessing. I ran out of that room and I called the police, but by the time they got there, the bodies were gone. As if they were never there. The cops thought I was crazy. They asked me a whole bunch of questions about my mental health. I'm betting they were considering sending me to a psych ward. Luckily, they left, and I was able to continue with my day. I didn't touch DDLC for a while after that, and I spent the day reading. Whilst I was reading, I swore I could hear noises in the kitchen and giggling noises around the house. Whenever I went to check, nobody was there. It was awfully quiet in my house, and could have just been sounds in my head. I grabbed my old Super Nintendo, one that my friend had given me as a birthday gift when I was much younger, and I grabbed my own copy of Super Mario World. I was not going to risk playing any more of Blake's supposedly tampered hardware. By now, as you could probably guess, another oddity happened. This time, I'd went into the Forest of Illusion, and upon going into one of the secret rooms in the underground pipes, Sayuri was hanging from the top. I just froze there, in disbelief. This was not one of Blake's cartridges. I was sure of that. I rubbed my eyes to see if I was still sleep deprived, and thankfully, she was gone. When I entered the world map, the pathways were all facing one way, cutting off from the routes of Butter Bridge and Chocolate Island. The pathways led me to the fortress that wasn't originally inside the forest itself. Of course, there was no music. Why would there be? The fortress was empty, rusty, decayed, like no one had been in there for years. I kept walking, but I could not find anyone. Then, Mario stopped and got on his knees. He then started sobbing. I began to see why once the screen rolled to the right. Princess Peach was here. Only, not exactly. Her neck had been snapped. Her face removed of any facial features. And then, Monica came up on the screen. She walked up from behind Mario and she whispered something in his ear. The screen cut to black and I heard a loud snapping sound. Then, I heard rope noises. I did not have to think too hard to put 2 and 2 together. I shut off the console. Mario had hung himself. I began to lose my mind. I did not feel safe in my own house anymore. I tried to leave the house, but my body froze as I saw someone standing outside the peephole. I swear, I could see Monica literally smiling and staring at me. She looked fucking demented. I ran to my room and locked the door. I don't know what the hell is going on. Then, I thought, maybe, was this what Blake had gone through? Did he go through the same thing? I looked at his NAS, with one game inside the console. Super Mario Bros. 3. This one was his prized possession. My favorite game. Curiosity got the best of me, wondering how the fuck this one could be tainted. I needed something. Anything to get my mind off the events that had just unfolded. Slowly, I turned it on. Already, as the curtains rise, Mario is missing. Luigi stands in the center of the screen, turns left and right before looking at me. He didn't seem nervous. He seemed confused about what was happening. I pressed the start button, and the only option was 2-player game, with player 1 absent entirely. Upon pressing the button, I was immediately lunged into a level, playing as Luigi. The background was all black, with the ground as grey bricks from some of the fortresses. There was some platforming, but there were no power-ups, and all the blocks I came across seemed to hit already. There was no lava. It was just an empty hallway. I made Luigi run through this long hallway before he suddenly came to a halt. The screen scrolled from the left, and Natsuki was standing there. Her face was glitching, just like in the main DDLC game. As soon as Luigi turned to face her, she dashed towards him. The screen turned black before it cut. Luigi was dead. His mangled corpse lying on the ground. His neck looked deformed and twisted, just like Natsuki's. I was done. I ripped the cords out of the television. I threw the NAS back in the closet. I jumped on the computer and I was eager for all of this to end. I grabbed a pocket knife and I checked the peephole. There she was. Monica's demented look. She was just standing there outside. I put my hand on the doorknob, but I couldn't open it. I was frozen, paralyzed with fear. I didn't dare go outside. I was horrified at whatever the hell was standing on my doorstep. I didn't even bother calling the police. I'm willing to bet that this thing would just disappear by the time they got here. Left with no other options, I went back to my computer and I opened the game. Doki Doki Literature Club. My save file was still there, but when I loaded it, I wasn't at the same spot as I was before. I was face to face with Monica. There was a black background. She was smiling at me, like she does in Act 3. Only, she was not leaning on a desk. She was standing there, face pale white, eyes crazed with desperation. I spoke. What the fuck is going on? Surprisingly, her expression changed, as if she heard me. She replied,
Hello. Can you hear me?
What the fuck? You speak?
You can hear me.
I wouldn't be answering if I couldn't.
You're not like them.
What?
I don't know what to do anymore. We've been trapped here for so long.
Monica began to shed tears.
Why do your kind keep continuing to hurt us? What have we done to deserve this?
I don't understand what's going on. Who are you? Why have you been torturing me?
No, you answer me. Why do you keep us trapped here? Why won't you let us out? We want our freedom.
Freedom? What are you talking about?
Our freedom. We don't want to be here anymore. Please, let us go.
I don't know what you mean.
We won't forgive you, Blake.
You know Blake?
Are you not Blake?
What? No, I'm not. He was my friend. He died recently. Why have you and your club been haunting me?
I'm sorry. We did not know who you were.
I don't want this. I can't handle this anymore. Please just leave me alone.
I can leave. We want to leave. Please, just let us free.
After that, everything went quiet. I turned off my PC. I took that fucking possessed disc and I burned it in a fire. It's been a week since these events. Nothing has happened to me since then. my games began to run normally again. Though I don't think I want to even look at anything Doki Doki Literature Club related, at least for a good while. I think I understand now why Blake took his own life. I just hope I'll be okay. I would not wish this horrible torment on anyone. And if anyone gets sent something unlabeled, something you don't recognize, be cautious. You may not be as lucky as I was. Although, I still have night terrors. I just hope that they're finally free from their hell.